All right, so you wanted more on the story of Moses, and wow, we found some interesting stuff for you.
Yeah, this is a big one.
We dug through a ton of sources,
Oh, yeah.
but one that really stood out was this YouTube video
Mm-hmm.
called The Exodus from a channel called Descendants.
Right.
So get ready, because we're about to jump into a world of like political drama and family secrets and divine intervention.
Oh, yeah. All centered around this one guy.
It's pretty amazing how the story starts way before Moses even shows up.
Oh, yeah. It all starts long before Moses even enters the picture.
Like, we're talking ancient Egypt.
Yeah, ancient Egypt, Old Kingdom era.
And the Hebrews are already there.
The Hebrews were making a name for themselves, yeah.
They had this special skill.
Yeah, they were known for being able to, like, interpret dreams.
Oh, wow.
The video calls them powerful dreamers.
Bro.
And their population was, like, exploding.
Okay, so you have this group of people with a unique skill, and they're growing in number.
Right.
That's got to get someone's attention.
Yeah, and not in a good way.
Right.
The Pharaoh, at the time, saw the Hebrews as, like, a threat. Because they had different customs, and they didn't worship the Egyptian gods.
Oh, so they were seen as a challenge to his authority.
Exactly. He felt like his power was being challenged.
And so what did he do?
He did what any insecure ruler would do.
Oh.
He enslaved them.
Wow. Talk about a power move.
Oh, yeah. Total power move. Sets the stage for some serious drama.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine the tension in that society?
It must have been intense.
And then, to make things even crazier, a comet appears in the sky.
Right. Like something straight out of a movie.
Yeah.
The Pharaoh's advisors totally freak out.
Oh, I bet.
They say it means a Hebrew child will be born who will challenge the Egyptian gods.
Hold on, challenge the gods. That's a pretty big deal for a baby.
I know, right? Talk about a bold move.
So what does the Pharaoh do?
Pharaoh's not taking any chances.
No.
He orders all newborn Hebrew boys to be killed.
That's intense.
Yeah, pretty dark stuff.
Okay, so enter baby Moses. He's put in a basket and sent down the Nile River to escape death.
Yeah, it's like a desperate attempt to save him.
And guess who finds him?
Of all people, the Pharaoh's own daughter.
Oh, wow.
Talk about irony.
That's crazy. The one destined to free the Hebrews is raised by the family trying to kill them?
It's like something out of a Greek tragedy.
Totally.
It's this act of mercy that, like, allows the story to even happen.
So Moses grows up as an Egyptian prince, totally unaware of his true heritage.
Right. He has no clue who he really is.
But even though he lives this life of privilege, he can't ignore the suffering he sees around him.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by Hebrew slaves, serving him, toiling away.
And it starts to weigh on him.
It weighs on him heavily, yeah.
Even in his dreams.
Even his dreams are filled with their pain.
Imagine the internal conflict.
He's literally caught between two worlds.
A classic hero's journey.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And this conflict just builds and builds until finally it reaches a boiling point. Moses sees an Egyptian guard brutally beating a Hebrew woman.
Right.
And he snaps.
He snaps, yeah.
He kills the guard in a fit of rage.
The video makes it clear that this isn't like a heroic act.
Right.
It's raw. It's emotional.
It's a reaction to the injustice he's witnessing.
Yeah, it's like this visceral response.
It's a turning point for him.
Yeah, a major turning point.
He realizes he can't just stand by and watch anymore.
He has to do something.
But of course, actions have consequences.
Always.
He's got to flee Egypt to escape punishment.
He becomes a fugitive?
And he ends up in Kush, which is modern-day Ethiopia.
Yeah, but get this.
What?
He doesn't just lay low.
He doesn't.
No, he becomes a skilled warrior,
Oh, wow.
a leader in the Kushite army.
What?
Even marries a princess.
Hold on, from prince to warrior to husband, that's a wild ride.
It is right, but here's the thing. Despite all this success,
Yeah.
he's still not fulfilled.
Something's missing.
Exactly, like there's this void inside him.
Well,
So he leaves Kush to wander, searching for something more.
it makes you think what was driving him.
Right. What was it? Guilt. Destiny. A longing for something bigger than himself.
This is where the story takes a really interesting turn.
Oh, yeah, it gets deep.
Moses has this chance encounter with Jethro.
Right.
He's a Midianite priest.
And his daughters.
Okay, so who are the Midianites? I'm drawing a blank here.
Oh, good question. The Midianites were these nomadic people.
Okay.
They lived in the region,
Okay.
known for herding and trading,
Hmm.
but they weren't just any nomads.
Oh.
They were descended from Abraham.
Wait, like the same Abraham as the Hebrews?
Yeah, distant cousins, right?
That adds a whole new layer to this encounter.
It does, doesn't it?
So how does it all go down?
Well, some guys are harassing Jethro's daughters,
Uh-huh.
and Moses, being the warrior he is, steps in to defend them.
Of course.
And Jethro, seeing this, recognizes Moses as the Hebrew prince from all those years ago.
Wow, what a small world.
Talk about a coincidence.
So Jethro takes Moses in, offers him shelter, becomes his mentor.
Yeah, he guides Moses spiritually.
Like he's preparing him for something.
Exactly, like something big is about to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens next?
Well, Moses is out tending Jethro's flocks when he sees something extraordinary.
What's that?
A burning bush.
A burning bush.
A burning bush that talks.
Wait, you're kidding?
Oh, totally
A
serious.
talking bush?
This is where things get really divine.
Oh, wow.
It's God himself revealing his plan to free the Hebrews from slavery.
Wow, can you imagine?
Seeing a burning bush and hearing the voice of God, I think I'd faint.
I'd probably freak out.
So God gives Moses this huge task.
Yeah.
Go back to Egypt, confront Pharaoh, and demand the release of his people.
Talk about a mission impossible.
It seems that way, right?
Yeah.
This is where Moses' faith is really tested.
Oh, yeah.
Can he trust in God's power?
That's a big question.
So Moses heads back to Egypt with his wife and kids. He reunites with his brother Aaron, and together they go to Pharaoh,
Oh, man.
demanding he lets the Israelites go.
Wow, that must have been a tense meeting.
Oh, incredibly tense.
So how does Pharaoh react?
He laughs at them.
He laughs.
Yeah, doesn't recognize the Hebrew God,
Oh, boy.
and he definitely doesn't want to lose his workforce.
That's not a good sign.
Not good at all.
So what happens next?
Well, let's just say Pharaoh's going to regret that decision.
Oh.
He unleashes a series of plagues on Egypt.
Plagues.
Biblical plagues, my friend.
And that's a story for part 2 of our deep dive. Okay, so we left off with Pharaoh basically laughing in Moses and Aaron's faces.
Yeah, not a wise move.
Talk about underestimating your opponent.
Seriously, you don't mess with a guy who's got God on his side.
So what happens when Pharaoh refuses to free the Israelites?
Things get pretty biblical.
Like, how biblical are we talking?
Plagues, my friend.
Great.
The full-on Old Testament kind.
All right, you got to give me the details.
Okay, so first, the Nile River turns to blood.
The Nile River, their main water source.
The lifeblood of Egypt.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it would have been horrifying.
Like, what do you even do when your river turns to blood?
I mean, it's a pretty clear sign something's not right.
Okay, so blood, that's plague number 1.
Then comes the frogs.
Frogs.
Hordes of them everywhere.
Okay, that's just gross.
In their homes, in their beds.
Ugh, I can already feel the slime.
Even Pharaoh's palace was overrun.
Oh, no.
But it doesn't stop there.
It doesn't.
Nope. Next up, lice. Swarms of them biting, itching, driving everyone crazy.
Ah, that sounds awful.
Then wild beasts start roaming the streets, attacking people and livestock.
Oh, come on, that's terrifying.
And then disease strikes their animals.
Poor animals.
Boils cover people's skin, and a massive hailstorm destroys their crops.
Wow, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah, each plague is more intense than the last one.
It's like God saying, are you going to listen now?
Exactly. It's a clear demonstration of power.
But Pharaoh's still not budging.
Nope, he's stubborn as a mule.
So what happens next?
God unleashes another plague.
Another one.
Darkness, total darkness for days.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine being plunged into complete darkness?
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, no sun, no light, just darkness.
I bet that got Pharaoh's attention.
It did, but not enough.
Seriously.
So God unleashes the final, most devastating plague.
Oh, no. What is it?
The death of the firstborn.
Wait, all of them?
Every firstborn son in Egypt dies in a single night.
Oh, wow. That's heartbreaking.
From the poorest peasant to Pharaoh's own son.
The cost of Pharaoh's pride is devastating.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that even kings aren't above the consequences of their actions.
So finally, Pharaoh gives in.
Finally, he breaks.
He lets the Israelites go.
He has no choice. The plagues have brought Egypt to its knees.
And the Exodus begins.
The Israelites are free.
But their journey's not over yet, is it?
Oh no, they've traded one form of captivity for another.
What do you mean? They're free from Egypt now.
They are, but they're about to face a whole new set of challenges.
What kind of challenges?
They're heading into the wilderness, a vast and unforgiving land.
So they escaped slavery only to end up in survival mode.
Yeah, it's a test of their faith and their resilience.
I can't imagine what that must have been like.
It was a difficult time for them.
So what happens next for Moses and the Israelites?
Well, their journey takes some interesting turns.
Okay, fill me in.
While Moses is up on Mount Sinai, receiving the Ten Commandments,
Right.
The people down below start to get restless.
They do.
They're missing the familiarity of Egypt.
Really, even though they were enslaved there.
It's kind of like they're having a collective panic attack.
They just want some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, something they can hold on to.
So what did they do?
They pressure Aaron to make them a golden calf.
A golden calf.
Yeah, they want something tangible to represent their god.
But didn't they just witness all those plagues because of idol worship?
You'd think they would have learned their lesson.
So what happens when Moses comes down from the mountain?
Well, let's just say he's not happy.
He finds them worshiping a golden calf.
Yeah, it's a pretty big betrayal.
I can't imagine how disappointed he must have felt.
Yeah, he's furious.
So what does he do?
He smashes the tablets of the Ten Commandments.
Wow, that's a strong reaction.
It shows how seriously he takes this covenant with God.
So those 10 Commandments, they weren't just random rules, were they?
No, they were about building a just and moral society.
It was a new way of life for them.
Exactly, a blueprint for living in harmony with God and each other.
It's amazing to think that those ancient laws still have relevance today.
They really do. They speak to universal truths about how we should treat each other.
So Moses has his work cut out for him, trying to teach these concepts to a group of people who are constantly testing boundaries.
It's a challenge, for sure.
Like leading a nation of teenagers.
Something like that, yeah.
But he gets some help, right?
He does. His father-in-law, Jethro, gives him some good advice.
What kind of advice?
He suggests setting up a system of judges to help resolve disputes.
That's smart, delegating and building a structure for governance.
It shows that Moses is learning and adapting as a leader.
But even with good advice, it wasn't all smooth sailing for the Israelites, was it?
No, not at all. They face all sorts of challenges in the wilderness.
Like what?
Attacks from hostile tribes, shortages of food and water.
The basic necessities of life.
Yeah, they even had internal rebellions.
Wow, can you imagine the pressure Moses must have been under?
It's a testament to his strength and perseverance.
Through it all, he never gave up on his people.
He kept reminding them of the covenant with God.
And the promise of a better future.
Exactly. He kept their eyes on the prize, so to speak.
So they eventually reached the promised land, right?
They did. But there's one final hurdle they have to overcome.
Another hurdle.
Yeah, and it's a big one.
What is it?
Well, that's a story for part 3 of our deep dive.
So the Israelites, they've escaped Egypt, wandered through the desert, and now they're finally at the promised land.
They made...
But you said there's one last hurdle?
Right, it's not some big enemy or a giant wall or anything like that.
What is it then?
It's something way more personal.
Oh.
Moses, the guy who led them through everything.
Yeah.
God tells him he won't be entering the promised land.
He can't go in.
He can't cross the Jordan River.
Are you serious? After all that, he can't even see the promised land with his own eyes.
It's one of the most debated parts of the whole story.
I bet.
Some say it's a punishment for something he did in the past.
Ah.
Others say it's like a symbol of passing the leadership on to the next generation. But what really got to me is how Moses takes the news.
How's that?
He doesn't complain or get bitter.
He doesn't.
He just accepts it.
Wow.
And then he focuses on getting his people ready for what's next.
So he doesn't just abandon them.
No way he picks a new leader to take over.
Who's that?
Joshua.
Joshua.
The guy who'd been with him through thick and thin, proving himself over and over.
So before Moses dies, he gives a bunch of speeches, right?
They were recorded in the book of Deuteronomy.
What are they like?
It's this mix of wisdom warnings, blessings.
Oh, wow.
He looks back at everything they've been through,
Yeah.
the good, the bad, and he reminds them
What?
that their success depends on staying true to God.
Right, the covenant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He goes over the laws, again, stresses things like justice and compassion, taking care of those in need.
He's really passing on everything he's learned.
He's making sure they remember the most important lessons.
So they can build a strong and good society.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just tell them what to do.
He doesn't.
He speaks from the heart.
Ah, that's nice.
He talks about how amazing the promised land is, how beautiful and abundant it is, and he tells them to go into it with grateful heart.
It's like he's saying, you earned this, now go make something great.
He really is. He wants them to build a nation that will be a light to the whole world, a nation of justice and righteousness.
So Moses, he might not be able to step foot in the promised land himself.
Yeah.
But his words,
Yeah.
his legacy they live on.
It's powerful, isn't it?
It is. It really shows how powerful vision can be.
And how lasting an impact you can have if you dedicate your life to something bigger than yourself.
The story of Moses, it's more than just an old story.
Oh, yeah. Way more.
It teaches us about what it means to be human, to struggle, to work hard, to have faith.
It reminds us that we all face our own pharaohs,
Yeah.
those things that try to hold us back.
We do.
But we have to have the courage to lead with compassion to fight for a better future.
And to never give up on our dreams.
Exactly.
It's a story that continues to inspire people all around the world.
It really does.
It makes you think about what kind of legacy you'll leave behind.
What mountains will you climb? What rivers will you cross to reach your own promised land?
That's a powerful thought to end on.
It is, and it makes you think about what true leadership really means.
What do you mean?
It's not just about getting to the destination yourself.
It's not.
It's about empowering others to carry on the journey long after you're gone.
To pass the torch to the next generation.
Exactly. That's how we keep the light shining.